Good morning, trading world. It is September 26, 2022, 8:25 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is my pre-market outlook and technical analysis for day trading the SPY. I should say markets, and just because I do a primary focus on the SPY, but we trade the markets here. Last night I had to get up and peek at the market before I actually or officially went to sleep, because there were some things that just didn't sit right with me. How we closed on Friday, it just kind of left me looking for a bit more. But last night, these were my thoughts looking at things before I went to sleep last night. Of course, you know, I've talked a lot about backwardation and contango when it comes to the Vix and Vix futures. Most traders are looking for a flush or capitulation as a sign of the all clear, we give up. But to me, that seemed too easy on Friday. I looked at volume and it didn't excite me. Neither did the VIX. The pop up right into just 30, that didn't excite me. It wasn't what I was looking for. I do see where order flow kind of bottomed out. I don't know whether it's just me because I have seen a lot worse, or whether this new Fed addicted market is just different. I was sitting over here Friday all strapped in waiting for, the screen machine, and I'm left feeling like there was a mix-up and somehow I ended up on the mine train, the baby roller coaster. I do know one thing. The market has made a fool of many sticking their head out too early. The 30-minute and the hourly charts seem ready to start a bounce, but will there be follow-through to time frames that matter, like the 4-hour and daily? Right now, the 4 hours seems intent on taking a breath too, but it still may be some downhill running left based on the weekly chart. So right now, I will definitely keep a tight leash on shorts still running. And my VIX spreads, they seem like they were just getting warmed up. And they got plenty time left, so I'm holding steady on those. I can see us have a breather to the upside for a bit, but I do see the time frame syncing up, so when we do bounce, everyone will know it. It will be extremely sharp and V-shaped. I am interested to see how overnight plays out. If we get a bounce up into the open, beware. Alright, those were my thoughts last night before I pretty much, I wanted to kind of take a peek before I start getting ready to lay down. But now it's morning. Just to kind of go back and see where we are, or look forward to see where we are. The weekly outlook appears to be bullish, closing above the 367.95 with a possible retracement all the way up to 379. Is this setting us up for an explosive alternate thesis, or is a bounce really coming this week? There is a bit of a bullish divergence starting to build on the hourly, but this will need to start to play into the 4-hour and daily before I take it seriously, because the weekly still seems like there's a good bit of downside left to go. All this says is to be careful of pops because of mid-level consolidation is forming. We are still on Apple watch. As Apple goes, so goes the market. Well, as you can see, this is how we've been keeping track of the contango and backwardation. And as you can see, the backwardation is almost flat out to, where is this now? We're out there a great ways. So this is definitely telling us that the danger is imminent. It's right here among us. But I expect some tricks to be played, and just like that movie Twister, where the tornado jumps over them and the end comes down, I expect something like that to happen in the market. Let's get to the key levels of the day. Alright, here we are back with the key levels of the day. Starting on the resistance side, we have our jack resistance at the 366 to the 367 area. Our all-important queen level of resistance today is going to be 368 to the 370 area. It is going to be highly important because there is a great concentration of sellers on this band, and we have to eat through a lot of that sell side order flow in order to break through here. Our king resistance is going to be 371 to the 373 area, and above that 373 things start to lighten up. Well, above the 371 area, things start to lighten up where there's a possibility to run above that area. On the support side, we have our jack support at 364 to the 363 area. Our queen support is going to be 362 to the 361 area. And then our king support is 360 to the 358 area. 364, our jack support, 364 to 363 is going to be also important because that is our main channel bottom that we're in. Now, the main thesis for today is bearish. It was a small bearish bias, however, it is still bearish, closing below the 367.95 with a projected target low of between 367 and 358. The alternate thesis is bullish, closing above the 367.95 with a projected target high of between 368 and 373. The current major channel we're in is 379 all the way down to 364. The major channel below that is 364 down to 353. There is a bit of leftover order flow imbalance to the point where there should be a pop up, but can we eat through all the sellers in the 368, 370 block, or do we fall back down to 364, 363, and can we take out the buyers forming there? If we break through the 364, 363 area, we may go for a more capitulatory ride down. That brings us to the scenarios of the day. Let me bring those up. All right, our first scenario and most probable scenario is going to be our range day structure. We can have an initial drop down, find support, chop back and forth, but still it's kind of up in the air to me whether we end up lower or just kind of even keel and just chopping back and forth because there was so much activity on Friday. I'm actually leaning towards ending up closer to that higher band of sellers at that 368, 370 area. But that's the general guide of today. It's going to be a range day. Chop, 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 back and forth. Find a boundary high, short that, ride it down to the midpoint, see where we end up, and find the boundary low. And from there, even if we do establish a clear boundary low, I'm not interested in buying right now. But that's how the range day scenario, how I see it playing out today. All right, our next most probable scenario is going to be our rounded reversal day type structure. We could get a continued push higher toward the jack or queen resistance area, and then find our midday chop around either that queen or king resistance before spending the same energy we use going up to come back down the second half of the day. We also want to be aware of our vice versa alert, and all that is just saying that instead of a continued push higher, we can actually start the push lower. And that push lower will take us here, finding our midday chop either around the queen or possibly king support area, and then pushing up the second half of the day with the same amount of energy we came down with in the first part of the day. All right, our last scenario is going to be our trend day down, which means we start with an open gap down and then pop back towards the previous close represented by the blue line. We find resistance on or before that previous close, then begin the downtrend for the day, also known as our golden window, the best time of the day to trade. We may find midday chop around either the possible queen or king support area. And then the second part of the day, it's possible we get a head fake to continue lower, and then choppiness, but somehow ending up with a kind of small pop into the close. So those are the scenarios for the day. It is very important that we keep an eye on the backwardation in the Vix futures and Apple, because I don't quite think the storm is over. So be careful of coming out too early or getting long too early, because this is where most casualties are caused. They are caused at the extremes of a trend, where we are at that extreme low and people think it's time to reverse, and they just keep getting chopped up and losing their account. As always, your most important job as a trader is to protect the capital that you already have, and we do that by knowing and understanding the risk that we have on in every position, and we manage that risk in accordance to our account size. With all of that being said, I hope you have a positive trading day. Let's make it a great one.